new technology. I have returned finally. Some new technology that we've been working on, trying to get a little bit better quality product here. So, sorry I've been gone so long. It's been a while. A couple weeks ago, uh, the Supreme Court has issued one of the most bizarre rulings I've ever seen, where all of a sudden you can't ask whether a person is a citizen or not on the census, which kind of flies in the face of what the census is all about to begin with. Chuck Schumer said it's a victory for democracy. Really? We'll get into that in just a few minutes. First off, kind of a public service announcement. Got a scam alert for you. This one, well, very similar to a lot of other scam alerts that I've had. This one is particularly nasty because it makes you think that you're involved in some kind of child pornography thing or something. Here's the way it works. They call you, cold call. Your telephone number has been associated with child pornography computer. Well, one of the things that tipped me off to the fact it's a scam, first of all, was the fact that this is my cell phone, the handy dandy flip phone. So while I can get on the internet with it, it's very unhandy, doesn't work very well, and its abilities are very limited in that capability. So, no, my cell phone was not used in gathering child pornography. So knowing that right from the get-go, I knew this was a scam right from the start. So they called my phone number. I said, hey. So then, I wait on the line for the investigator to talk to me about this situation. And the investigator came on with the same very thick Indian accent that the previous scam about Microsoft owing me money and wanting to give me my money back, but only if they could get on my computer, and probably put malware or spyware or something like that on it. This is very similar. And the investigator with the thick Indian accent came on and said, yes, he needed to get on my computer to clear up the situation immediately. Yeah. No, what they want to do is get on your computer so they can download spyware or malware or some other kind of stuff on the computer. But he was very helpful as far as letting me know what the plan was. And, I thanked him very much and said, my listeners will all appreciate knowing. And at that point, he was like, listeners? What are you talking about? This isn't a scam. This is child pornography is very bad. Yeah, I know it's very bad, and my listeners will really appreciate getting the lowdown on this. And at that point, he hung up. I haven't heard back from him. So that good news for me there. But you guys might want to beware. He probably going to try that on somebody else. But when they come at you with a child pornography thing, I'm a teacher. The last thing I need is something like that. So, that's one of those things that you sit up and take notice. But a scam is a scam, and that's not the way they're going to do it. If they're actually think that you're involved in some kind of thing like that. So just pay attention and try to avoid getting taken to the cleaners, because once they download that malware, then they can get whatever financial, fiscal information they want from you. And Next thing you know, you got an empty bank account. Okay. Chuck Schumer, a victory for democracy. I don't know. He must be. He must have recently gone to Colorado or something. Got some of that funny stuff. I don't know how this is a victory for democracy, since you have just made a complete and total cabal of the whole reason for taking the census, which originally the census was there to get an idea of how many representatives to put in the House of Representatives. This is part of the Great Compromise. The big states and the small states had a huge argument over how many representatives they should have in their Congress. So the Great Compromise was, okay, the Senate has 2 representatives from each state, regardless of size. The House would be represented through enumeration. Now, originally, as it was stated in the Constitution, look back here to, I got my handy dandy history book, and I can look back here to, not there, yeah. Rules for Congress. All right. Originally, slaves were 3/5 of a person. Indians not taxed were excluded, which right there is a very telling thing, because obviously if you're not considered a citizen, you're not counted. But they didn't put it as such at that time. They listed free men. It was men only at that time. And the representatives, you would have 1 representative for every 30,000 individuals in your state. Well, that all changed with the passage of the 14th Amendment to the Constitution. I got that here. Here we go. Representatives for each state. Okay, they changed the law. At that point, they specifically inserted the word citizens. And they specifically did that to indicate primarily, of course, that they were granting citizenship to former slaves. But they specifically defined citizenship and who was to be counted in the census and who was not to be counted in the census. Citizenship was of primary importance. Why, you may ask, is this so important? Well, the primary reason for having the census is to determine how many people each state gets to represent them in Congress. Okay? So you have some states that only have 1 representative. They're very low populated states. You have other states like California that have 55 representatives in Congress. There's a lot of population there. All right. It's based on citizenship because non-citizens are not supposed to have the ability to vote in our elections. As a matter of fact, there are specific things in the Constitution that state such, including the whole, the whole Trump-Russia collusion thing. Well, there is nothing more foreign interference than having a foreign entity, foreign person, not a citizen of this country, voting in our elections. It doesn't get any more interference than that, really. So obviously, citizenship is very important. Well, now they're going to try to, and this is going to be a mess for the Supreme Court. There are going to be all kinds of they thought gerrymandering was bad before. Gerrymandering is going to be 10 times worse now because you're going to have some states that are going to be counting illegal immigrants as citizens. You're going to have other states that are going to be trying to work around the districting lines around these denizens of illegal immigrants. And both sides are going to be taking it to court because in extremely liberal states, they're saying you're going to have citizens say, hey, wait, whoa, you can't, they can't vote. They're not allowed to vote. They're not supposed to vote. They're not citizens of the United States. They can't vote. And in other states, they're going to be saying, hey, you can't just, you've got a band of illegal immigrants. You can't just gerrymander around them. Well, you can't count them either. All of this is going to wind up in the courts. And all of it is going to wind up right back in the lap of the Supreme Court. So Justice John Roberts did not do himself any favors when he did this, because this is going to be a huge mess. Huge mess. And it's going to take a considerable amount of time to sort through it all. All of these cases are going to wind up taking years to wind their way through the court system. It's just going to be a gigantic headache for everybody as they try to figure out, well, who's voting, who's not voting, what can we vote, when, yeah. And of course, voting is up to the individual states. That is not a power reserved to the federal government. So all of this is going to play out now. And how this mess is a victory for democracy, I don't know, because in the next election, and this is primarily what the Democrats are hoping for, is that they can get enough illegal votes from non-citizens, illegal immigrants and non-citizens, to push one of their candidates over the top. That's the primary goal for the Democrats, I believe, because they can't get enough American citizens to actually vote for them, and their extreme left-wing socialist leanings right now. So yeah, they're going to try to get bolster their illegal voting rolls in order to get one of their candidates over the top. And it is a possibility. And also, they're going to try to pull representatives out of low populous states that don't have illegal immigrants. Well, now, if they count all these illegal immigrants, they can pull congressmen out of low populated states that don't have a huge illegal immigrant base and drag them to, and that's going to be a fight between states then, because if you're like Nebraska, you've got 3 representatives, and California has 55 representatives, and they say, well, we're counting all these illegal immigrants, we're going to take one of your House seats away from you. Well, no, the illegal immigrants don't count for representation because they're not citizens of the United States. Boom. There's another court battle. So this next census is going to be a huge mess. And it's it's going to be kind of interesting to see how all this plays out. Hopefully, it'll work out well. Again, I'm back. Hopefully, the new technology is working right, and I will be able to bring you more of these little tidbits and segments. I have an entire unit on socialism coming up. I'm going to discuss a lot of different aspects of how socialism and capitalism are different, how socialism actually works in the real world, and in fact, some of the flaws that even Karl Marx himself identified. So that's going to be an interesting little series, and that's going to be coming up real soon. So if you like this, please subscribe and hit the little like button, and I will return hopefully sooner than I did the last time, but I'll give it my best shot to be a little more regular on my broadcasts. So